Imagine you were standing at the edge of a storm inside your mind. Thoughts rush like wild winds. Emotions crash like waves. You feel powerless, caught in a battle you cannot win. But what if you could become the calm in the center of that storm? What if the chaos outside could no longer shake the peace inside? How would your life change if you truly mastered your mind? Every day, we face moments when anger rises without warning, when fear whispers lies in the quiet corners of our thoughts. Have you ever asked yourself, why do I lose control so easily? Why does my mind betray me with doubt and despair? What if the key to freedom is not changing the world around us, but changing the way we respond to it? Imagine a man walking down the street. Suddenly, someone shoves past him without apology. Most would react with anger or hurt, but this man remains unmoved. Not because he is cold or indifferent, but because he has trained his mind to see beyond the insult. He understands that no one can harm his peace unless he lets them. This is not a fairy tale. This is the power of mastering the mind. Welcome to Book Boost. Here, we explore the timeless wisdom that helps us conquer the most difficult battlefield, our own minds. If you want to find real strength, to stand unshaken no matter what life throws at you, then stay with us. We will share secrets rooted in ancient philosophy, powerful ideas that can transform your inner world and your outer life. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Your journey to true mastery begins here. Now, what does it really mean to master your mind? It means understanding that your thoughts and feelings are not your enemies, but tools. Tools you must learn to shape and control. It means recognizing destructive emotions for what they are: clouds passing through the sky of your consciousness. You don't have to fight the storm itself. You only need to become the sky, vast, calm, and unshakable. To master your mind is to reclaim your power. To face life with a quiet confidence that no hardship can break. It is a promise to yourself that no matter what darkness comes your way, you will hold the light inside. We are not born with this power. It is earned, slowly and deliberately. But once earned, it cannot be taken away. Please drop down your one thought on believe in yourself in the comments. Your voice matters here. And if you're ready to take control, make sure to subscribe to Book Boost. Together, we will unlock the secrets of the mind and become masters of serenity. Imagine that your mind is like a window. Through this window, you see the world, but what you see depends on the clarity of the glass. If the glass is dirty, cracked, or fogged, what you see will be distorted. You might see shadows where there is light, dangers where there is safety, or insults where there is none. But what if you could clean that glass? What if you could see things exactly as they are, without fear, without false hope, without anger? This is the first great lesson of mastering the mind. We are not disturbed by things themselves, but by the way we see them. A wise philosopher named Epictetus said this plainly long ago. He reminded us that it is not events that trouble us, but our judgments about those events. When we understand this, the whole world changes. Think about a time when someone spoke harshly to you. Your first reaction may have been to feel hurt or angry. But stop for a moment and ask, is it the words themselves that cause pain, or the meaning I give to those words? Often, it is our interpretation that turns a small annoyance into a big storm inside us. If we could train ourselves to see those words simply as sounds, empty of power unless we give it, we would be free from the chains of emotional suffering. This discipline of perception is the foundation of self-control. It asks us to question every thought that rises in our minds, especially the ones that pull us toward anger, fear, or despair. When a negative thought appears, we do not have to accept it as truth. Instead, we become the observer, the judge of our own mind. We ask, is this thought real? Is it useful? Does it serve my peace or destroy it? Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and philosopher, practiced this every day. He reminded himself that the world is made of change, and it is natural. Nothing lasts forever, and nothing happens without reason. When he faced hardship, he did not blame the world. He simply reminded himself to see things clearly, as they were, not as he wished them to be. The power to choose how we perceive the world is a power we all have, yet few ever use it fully. Most live like slaves to their emotions, reacting without control, suffering because they believe every negative thought that crosses their minds. But the master of the mind understands that perception is a choice. It is a skill to be learned, like a muscle to be trained. To practice this skill, begin by watching your thoughts as if you were a stranger to them. Notice when your mind jumps to fear, anger, or sadness. Then pause, take a breath, and ask yourself if this thought is a fact or just a story your mind is telling you. This simple act creates space. Space where peace can grow. Do not be fooled by the seeming strength of emotions. They are often loud, but they are not powerful unless you let them be. Like a wave in the ocean, they come and go. The wise learn to watch these waves without drowning in them. They stay steady, no matter how rough the sea becomes. We cannot control the external world. Storms will come. People will act unjustly. Illness, loss, and pain will visit every life. But what we can control is our perception. We can train ourselves to see these hardships clearly, without adding unnecessary pain through false beliefs or exaggerated fears. This discipline of perception also teaches us to accept what is outside our control without resistance. When we fight reality, we only add to our suffering. When we accept reality as it is, we gain strength. Acceptance is not surrender. It is understanding. It frees us to focus our energy on what we can change: our thoughts, our actions, our responses. Imagine the peace you could hold inside if you never allowed false judgments to take root. If you always saw people's actions as their own, not a personal attack. If you understood that pain is part of life's natural rhythm, not a sign that life is against you. This peace is not a dream. It is a discipline away. But this discipline is not weakness. It is the greatest strength a human can have. To look at life with clear eyes, to feel pain but not be broken by it, to meet anger with calm, to meet fear with courage, this is mastery. The great Stoics understood that the mind is like a garden. If left unattended, weeds of anger, jealousy, and fear grow quickly. But if carefully tended, it blooms with wisdom, calm, and joy. Every moment, we choose what seeds we plant. Every moment, we decide what thoughts to water. You may ask, is it really possible to change the way I see things? After years of reacting without control, can I learn this? The answer is yes, but it requires patience and practice. It is not a quick fix. It is a lifelong journey. Yet every step forward makes you stronger, freer, more serene. In this journey, remember that the mind is a tool. It serves you only if you use it wisely. When you train your mind to see clearly, your emotions follow. The storms calm. The waves settle. And the window through which you view the world becomes a clear glass, revealing the truth, neither good nor bad, just what is. This truth holds power. It frees you from the tyranny of feelings and false fears. It gives you control over your inner world, even when the outer world seems out of control. To master your mind, begin by mastering your perception. Choose to see things clearly. Reject false judgments. Accept reality with open eyes. This is the first step on the path to true freedom. Voluntary hardship, the path to fortitude. What happens to a man who lives too comfortably for too long? What becomes of a mind that never faces friction, that never bleeds or breaks or rebuilds? It becomes soft, weak, vulnerable. The truth is simple, yet few dare to speak it. Comfort is not your friend. Ease is not your teacher. Luxury will never make you strong. The Stoics knew something we often forget. True strength is not born in silence and sunlight, but in fire and trial. They believed in voluntary hardship, not because they loved pain, not because they wanted to suffer, but because they understood something deeper. You must willingly choose discomfort if you want to rule yourself. We live in a time where we run from anything that feels heavy. A little cold? Turn up the heat. A little hungry? Grab a snack. Tired? Quit. Confused? Distract yourself. But the Stoic man walks a different path. He walks into discomfort, eyes open, hands steady, heart prepared. Not because he is reckless, but because he knows strength is only built in resistance. Seneca once said, "Set aside now, and then a number of days during which you shall be content with the scantiest and cheapest fare, with coarse and rough dress, saying to yourself the while, is this the condition I feared?" Think about that. He was one of the wealthiest men of his time, yet he practiced being poor. Not because he needed to, but because he chose to. That is power. That is freedom. To no longer be afraid of losing anything. You see, voluntary hardship is not just about skipping a meal or taking a cold shower. It is a deeper test, a mental sharpening. You are teaching your mind that comfort is not your master. You are teaching your soul to stand in the fire without being burned. You are preparing for life, not as a victim, but as a warrior of endurance. Do not wait for life to throw you into difficulty before you learn to be strong. Create your own difficulty now. Walk when it's easier to ride. Speak truth when it's easier to stay silent. Endure boredom without reaching for a screen. Say no when your body begs you to say yes. These are small battles, but each one wins back a little more of your inner strength. The world is obsessed with avoiding pain, but we are not of the world. We do not chase comfort like a child chasing sweets. We chase something greater, control over ourselves. Because the one who has mastered himself fears no hardship. He has already walked through it. He has chosen it. He has looked hardship in the eye and said, I am not afraid of you. Epictetus lived as a slave. His body was broken, his status low, yet his mind was free. He said, difficulties show men what they are. Read that again. Difficulties reveal. They peel back the layers. They show you whether your strength is real or just a mask. They do not lie. And when you choose difficulty on purpose, you are not just preparing for the storm, you are becoming the storm. Modern minds are fragile, easily offended, easily broken. Why? Because they have been shielded from the sting of discipline. But we choose a different life. We do not wait to be tested. We test ourselves. Not once, not twice, every day. When you wake up, ask yourself, what small challenge can I walk into today? Where can I make myself uncomfortable just to grow? Maybe it's silence. Maybe it's rejection. Maybe it's the pain of facing your own failures. Whatever it is, lean into it. Slowly, steadily, patiently. Each moment of chosen struggle adds another brick to your fortress. And let me tell you something the world won't. You are capable of far more than you believe. You are not too weak. You are not too late. You are simply unused to hardship. But that can change. And it must change if you want to master your mind. Voluntary hardship is not punishment. It is preparation. It is the practice of becoming unshakable. And this practice is not a one-day decision. It is a lifetime commitment. The world may laugh at it. The weak may call it foolish. But deep inside, they know it holds truth. Because strength can only grow in struggle. And a man who never struggles never grows. One day, life will test you. You will lose someone. You will be rejected. You will fail. And on that day, your response will not be built in that moment. It will come from the training you've done before, the cold mornings, the hard choices, the silence you've embraced. These will become your armor. And you will stand when others fall. There is no shortcut. No soft path to inner power. Only the narrow road of chosen difficulty. But it leads to peace, to power, and to a serenity the world cannot touch. If you want freedom, walk through fire now, while your feet are strong. Sleep on the ground while you still have a bed. Fast while food is within reach. Work when no one is watching. Train your soul to endure, so that when life becomes heavy, you are already heavier. We don't do this to impress. We don't do it to prove anything. We do it because this is who we are: seekers of strength, builders of fortitude, masters of our own minds. So choose the harder path today, not because it is heroic, but because it is necessary. What you avoid now will enslave you later, but what you face now will free you forever. This is the way. This is the cost. This is the path to fortitude. Mastery over desire and aversion. To master the mind, we must first understand the true nature of desire and aversion. These are the twin forces that pull us in opposite directions, and yet they come from the same root: a mind unsettled, seeking comfort and fleeing discomfort. They are the source of much suffering, the chains that bind us to endless struggle. Think for a moment about desire. It is not just wanting something. It is a fire that burns inside, pushing us to chase after things we believe will bring happiness. But the truth is, desire is a whisper that says, if only I had this, I would be whole. If only I could grasp that, I would be at peace. Yet no possession, no achievement, no moment of pleasure can fill the emptiness desire promises to cure. The ancient teacher Epictetus said, freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control. What is desire if not a longing for what lies outside our power? When we grasp for things beyond our reach, we tie ourselves to uncertainty, and in that grip, we suffer. Now look at aversion. It is the opposite side of the same coin, the instinct to reject pain, discomfort, and loss. We push away what hurts, fearing it will consume us. But what does this rejection cost us? The more we run from what troubles us, the stronger its hold becomes. Our resistance gives it power. Marcus Aurelius taught, if you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment. This means that aversion is not to the event, but to how we judge it. When we change how we see pain, loss, or difficulty, their power to hurt us fades. Imagine the mind as a garden. Desire and aversion are like wild vines that grow unchecked, choking the flowers of reason and peace. If we allow them to rule, the garden becomes tangled and dark. But with care, patience, and wisdom, we can prune these vines. We can choose what to nurture and what to let go. Mastery over desire and aversion does not mean becoming cold or indifferent. It means seeing these urges clearly, understanding their nature, and no longer letting them command our actions. It means building a strong inner foundation so that pleasure and pain alike become mere visitors, passing through without disturbing the core. Think of it like this. A great storm can rage outside, but the mountain stands unmoved. It does not seek to fight the wind or chase away the clouds. It simply remains firm and still. Our mind, too, must become this mountain, unmoved by the winds of craving or the storms of fear. When we begin to master these forces, we find a quiet strength that no outward event can shake. We stop chasing what is fleeting and start holding on to what is eternal, our reason, our values, our peace. We become free because we stop needing the world to give us happiness. Instead, happiness grows from within. Seneca once said, "True happiness is to enjoy the present, without anxious dependence upon the future." Desire is always rooted in the future, in what might come. Aversion is always rooted in the fear of loss, in what might disappear. But the present moment is a place of power, the only moment where we truly live. So, how do we begin this mastery? First, by noticing. When a desire rises, we do not need to obey it blindly. We pause, ask, is this desire serving my true self? Is it leading me toward wisdom and strength, or away from it? When fear or aversion grips us, we breathe and remember that pain is temporary, and our judgment of it can change. This practice is not easy. It demands courage to face discomfort without running, courage to face cravings without surrendering. But with every small victory, the mind grows stronger. The vines retreat, and the garden becomes a place of calm and clarity. Another ancient voice, Musonius Rufus, reminded us that the greatest wealth is to live content with little. This contentment is not poverty of spirit. It is the richness of knowing that we do not need to depend on fleeting things to be whole. It is the power of being self-sufficient in the deepest sense. By mastering desire and aversion, we reclaim the throne of our own mind. We become the rulers of our emotions, instead of their slaves. We transform from reacting to life's storms into choosing how we meet them, with patience, with wisdom, with unbreakable calm. And this calm is not weakness. It is the strength of steel tempered in fire. It is the power to hold steady when all around us is chaos. It is the path to true freedom. Remember, no external pleasure can satisfy the soul that craves endlessly. No external pain can truly harm the soul that remains firm in judgment. This is the secret that those who master their minds have discovered throughout the ages. This is the gift waiting for you when you learn to rise above desire and aversion. So let us walk this path together, not chasing illusions, not fleeing shadows, but standing strong in the light of reason. Let us practice daily the art of choosing what to accept and what to let go. Let us become masters not only of our thoughts but of our deepest urges. In doing this, we do not merely survive life, we conquer it. We do not merely endure pain, we transform it. We do not merely hope for peace, we become peace itself. This is the power of mastery over desire and aversion. This is the path to a mind unshaken, a heart unburdened, and a life lived in serene strength. Imagine your mind as a great fortress. Not one made of stone or steel, but one built from your own will, your thoughts, and your choices. This fortress is your sanctuary, the place no one can invade without your permission. It is called the inner citadel. And it is here, inside this fortress, that true power lies. Every person faces storms. Life will shake you with harsh winds, loss, anger, disappointment, fear. These storms are unavoidable. But what if the storms outside could no longer break what is inside? What if you could stand firm like a rock in the river, unmoved by the rushing waters? This is not a dream. It is a reality that any of us can reach. But it requires one thing, mastery over the mind. The inner citadel is the calm center of your being. It is the place where reason rules, not impulse. It is where you separate what you can control from what you cannot. It is the space where your soul stands tall, free from the chaos of emotions that try to pull you down. This is what the ancient philosophers taught, that the only true freedom is freedom from the tyranny of our own feelings. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. Imagine this power as the foundation of your fortress. It means understanding that no one can make you angry without your consent. No one can make you sad unless you give them that power. The world will try to shake you, but it can never truly reach the calm inside unless you allow it. To build this fortress, you must begin by watching your thoughts. Think of your mind like a garden. If you leave it untended, weeds of anger, jealousy, and fear will grow wild and choke your peace. But if you tend to it carefully, planting seeds of reason, patience, and courage, your garden will flourish with calm and clarity. The inner citadel grows in the soil of this garden. It is easy to blame others for our troubles. It is easy to say, they made me upset, or the world is unfair. But such thoughts make you a prisoner outside the fortress, wandering in the storms. The true master looks inward and says, I control how I respond. I control what I allow to enter my mind. This shift from blaming the outside to commanding the inside is the gate to the inner citadel. When you face insults or failures, imagine these like arrows flying toward your fortress. You cannot stop the arrows from coming, but you can raise your shield. This shield is your reason, your judgment. It blocks what is harmful and lets what is good pass through. You decide what matters, what is worthy of your attention. Seneca warned us that no man is free who is not master of himself. Freedom is not living without rules or without pain. It is living with control over your reactions. It is to refuse to be a slave to your desires or fears. The inner citadel is the very heart of that freedom. It is the place where you stand tall, no matter the chains the outside world tries to put on you. Building this fortress is not a one-time event. It is a daily practice. Each time anger rises, each time fear threatens to take hold, you have a choice. You can let the storm in and lose your peace, or you can close the gates, breathe deeply, and remember who you are. This choice, repeated again and again, builds strength as surely as lifting weights builds muscle. The great Stoics remind us that the mind is a garden we cultivate. Epictetus said, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. The storms will come, but your fortress can remain intact if you nurture it with wisdom and patience. Every time you refuse to react out of anger, every time you choose calm over chaos, the walls of your inner citadel grow higher and stronger. Your inner citadel is also where you hold your values. It is the place where your purpose lives, untouched by the noise of the world. In this sanctuary, you remember what truly matters: honesty, courage, kindness, and wisdom. The fortress is not cold or empty. It is alive with the light of your soul. It is your safe place, your true home. When others seek to drag you into their anger, their fear, or their sorrow, you can remain calm. This calmness is not weakness. It is the greatest strength. It says, I will not give you power over me. This strength comes from years of training the mind, from countless moments of choosing reason over reaction. Do not be discouraged if the storms seem too strong now. The fortress is built stone by stone. Each moment you resist a destructive thought, each moment you hold your peace in the face of pain, you add a brick to your inner walls. This work is slow, but it is real, and it is the most important work you will ever do. Remember, the world outside your mind may be unpredictable, even cruel. But the world inside your mind is yours alone to rule. You can decide what enters and what stays out. The inner citadel is your kingdom. Guard it well. Stand firm. When the winds howl, when the darkness presses in, when the heart wants to give up, remind yourself that the power to remain calm is always yours. That power is your fortress. That power is your freedom. This is the mastery of the mind, the quiet strength that no one can take away. This is the inner citadel. Imagine a life where nothing is wasted. Every event, every moment, every hardship and joy is not just endured, but embraced. This is the heart of a truth that many struggle to grasp, amor fati, the love of fate. It is the fire that burns away resistance and turns whatever life throws at us into fuel for our growth. We often live as if the world owes us something better, something easier. We want life to bend to our wishes, to serve our desires. When it does not, we fight, complain, and suffer. But what if the secret to true power is not changing the world, but changing ourselves to meet it, to love it as it is, not as we wish it to be? To love fate means to accept reality in its entirety. It means no longer wasting energy on regret, frustration, or anger about what has happened or what will happen. Marcus Aurelius, a wise emperor and philosopher, wrote that we should love only what happens, what was destined. No greater harmony. This harmony is not passive. It is fierce and alive. It calls us to welcome every moment, not as a burden, but as a gift. When we accept our fate, we are not victims. We become creators. We find strength in what others see as defeat. The storms of life no longer rage outside us, but become part of our very being, shaping us, refining us. The pain that once crippled us becomes the forge for our courage. The losses we suffer become the foundation of our wisdom. This fire of acceptance burns away the chains of expectation. It frees us from the illusions that bind us, the belief that life must be fair, that people must behave as we want, that our plans will unfold exactly as hoped. Once these illusions fall, what remains is freedom, the freedom to respond with grace, strength, and clarity. But this does not mean resignation. It means engagement, deep, conscious engagement. To love fate is to say yes to life itself, with all its chaos and mystery. It is a declaration that no matter what happens, we will meet it fully, with open eyes and steady heart. Seneca, another great voice of Stoicism, reminded us that a man's true delight is to do the things he was made for. If fate has placed us in difficult circumstances, then our joy lies in facing them head-on. To fight with courage, to endure with dignity, to grow through every trial. This is not suffering in vain, but transforming suffering into strength. Consider the ancient blacksmith who takes a broken sword and, through fire and hammer, shapes it into something stronger and sharper. So too, we are shaped by the fires of fate. We are remade through the challenges that come our way. When we love our fate, we do not waste time wishing for a different path. We walk the path we have, and we walk it fiercely. Every moment is an opportunity to practice this love of fate. When disappointment arrives, instead of turning away, we lean in. When loss touches our lives, instead of despairing, we ask, how can this serve me? What can I learn? How can I rise? This is the path of the master of the mind, not one who avoids pain, but one who transforms it. Imagine now the peace that comes from this perspective. No longer fearing the future, no longer haunted by the past. We become like the sea, vast, deep, and calm, no matter what storms blow above. This peace is not a gift from without, but a power awakened from within. Loving fate also means trusting the order of things, even when it is hidden from us. The universe moves in patterns beyond our grasp. We see only pieces of the puzzle, but the whole is greater than any part. To resist fate is to resist the flow of life itself. To accept and love it is to flow with the current, using its energy to propel us forward. In this love of fate, there is also great humility. We acknowledge that we are but a small part of a vast whole. This humility does not diminish us. It frees us from the burden of trying to control everything. Instead, we focus on what is within our power, our thoughts, our actions, our responses. There is an ancient saying from Epictetus, don't seek to have events happen as you want them to, but instead want them to happen as they do, and your life will go well. This is the essence of loving fate. It calls us to align our will with the world, to find joy in what is, rather than bitterness in what isn't. To live with a more fatty is to live without regret. Every experience, good or bad, becomes part of the story we proudly own. There is no what if, no if only. There is only the present moment, lived fully and fiercely. This mindset does not erase pain or loss. It does not make hardship easy, but it changes everything. It gives us a power beyond circumstance. The power to endure, to grow, to become unbreakable. We are not born with this power. It is forged through practice, through daily choice. Each time we resist anger, each time we embrace hardship, each time we say yes to life exactly as it is, we stoke this fire. So, what fate has given you? What hardships stand before you now? Will you meet them as an enemy or as a teacher? Will you waste your strength on bitterness, or will you transform it into power? Remember, the fire that burns away resistance is not outside you. It is inside. It is the fierce love of life, the acceptance of fate, the unwavering will to master the mind and become serene. This is the path of the true master. To not only endure fate, but to love it fully, deeply, without hesitation. Because in that love lies freedom. In that freedom lies power. And in that power lies peace. Imagine holding an hourglass in your hands. The sand slips slowly, steadily, grain by grain. You can see the time passing, not hidden, not secret. The moment you think about it, you realize something powerful. Your time is limited. Your life is a finite journey, measured not by years, but by moments. This is the truth that many try to avoid, yet it is the most important truth to accept. To live well, we must understand and embrace the reality of death. The ancient Stoics taught us this lesson clearly. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and philosopher, reminded himself often that he could die at any moment. He did not say this to scare himself, but to awaken his soul. Death is not an enemy. It is a natural part of life, a boundary that gives meaning to every breath we take. When we accept mortality, we are freed from fear, from hesitation, and from wasting precious time. We often spend our days as if we are going to live forever. We delay what matters, push aside the moments that require courage, kindness, or honesty. We fill our minds with trivial worries about things that, in the end, will not matter. But when we remember that death is certain, and perhaps nearer than we think, something inside us shifts. We see with clearer eyes. We stop being distracted by noise. We start focusing on what truly matters. Do not misunderstand. This is not a call to despair or sadness. It is a call to live with urgency and purpose. Seneca, another great Stoic, wrote that life is long if you know how to use it. The problem is not that we do not have enough time, but that we do not use the time we have. We waste it in fear, in anger, in seeking approval from others. But each moment lost is a grain of sand that falls forever. So what does this mean for mastering the mind? It means that the greatest power we can hold is the power to choose how we spend our moments. When we face the certainty of death, the distractions lose their grip. We begin to see the value of calmness, of self-control, of being present. Because no one can take back a moment once it passes. No regret can bring it back. But a peaceful mind, aware of its limits, lives fully here and now. Think of death as the final teacher, the one who reveals what truly matters. When you know your time is limited, you stop chasing after things that do not feed your soul. You stop wasting energy on anger or envy. You stop being a prisoner to fear. Instead, you become a guardian of your time, a careful steward of your thoughts. This is why the Stoics urged us to practice memento mori. Remember that you will die. It is not a morbid thought, but a liberating one. Imagine waking each day knowing that today might be your last. How would you act? Would you hold grudges? Would you let fear keep you from your goals? Would you waste your energy on things outside your control? No. You would live with a fire in your heart and a calm in your mind. You would greet each challenge with courage. You would treasure every small joy as a gift. This awareness sharpens the mind and steels the spirit. It is the foundation of true serenity. Our mortality is the hourglass that measures all we are given. But it is also the reminder that we can control our response to life's passing. We can choose to be angry or calm. We can choose to be bitter or grateful. We can choose to be slaves to circumstance or masters of ourselves. The truth is, we cannot stop time. We cannot avoid death. But we can shape the way we live. When we embrace the hourglass, we understand that the only thing truly ours is the present moment. The power of now is the power to decide how to live with honor, wisdom, and courage. Remember, as Epictetus said, it is not death or pain that is to be feared, but the fear of pain or death. The fear itself traps us, not the event. When we let go of fear, we open the door to freedom. So ask yourself every day, how am I using this moment? Am I living as if this is my last day? Or am I waiting for some future time that may never come? The answer will shape your mind and your life. The mind that masters mortality masters life itself. There is no greater lesson than to face death without trembling. There is no stronger mind than one that holds serenity in the shadow of the inevitable. This is the courage that builds a life of meaning. This is the peace that outlasts the storm. The hourglass reminds us, our time is slipping away, grain by grain. But within that truth lies a secret power. We are alive now. And so, we have the chance to choose how to be. Let us choose wisely. Let us choose to be masters of our minds, keepers of our calm, warriors of our own fate. Because in the end, what we leave behind is not wealth or fame, but the serenity we carried within as the sands of time ran out. Imagine standing in the middle of a raging battlefield. Around you, chaos, noise, and suffering. Yet, in your heart, there is a stillness, a calm center untouched by the storm. This stillness is not born of apathy or avoidance, but of understanding. It is the strength to engage fully with life, without becoming a slave to its chaos. Many believe that to live well means to be passionate and attached to everything that happens to us. But true wisdom teaches something different, to care deeply and yet remain free. To act with love and purpose without losing yourself in the outcomes. This is the art of detached engagement, to give everything you have, and yet hold nothing too tightly. When we become too attached to what we desire, or afraid of what might be lost, we bind ourselves with invisible chains. Our minds grow restless and heavy, tossed by hopes and fears like a ship without an anchor. This is the beginning of suffering, the feeling that life is unfair, or that happiness is somewhere else, just beyond our reach. But what if we could change the way we hold things? What if we could embrace life's joys and pains as a guest welcomes visitors, without trying to trap them or push them away? When we learn this, we become like a tree rooted deep in the earth. The wind may blow fiercely, the storm may rage, but the tree stands firm, bending but never breaking. This does not mean we become cold or uncaring. Far from it. It means our care is wise. It means understanding that every event, every person, every feeling is part of a larger order, one that we cannot control but can accept. To engage detachedly is to give our fullest attention and effort to the present moment, while recognizing that some things are simply beyond our power. This idea might seem strange at first. How can we fully care without clinging? How can we love without fear? The answer lies in knowing what truly belongs to us. Marcus Aurelius, the great Stoic emperor, reminded himself often, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This means the only things we can truly own are our thoughts, our actions, and our will. Everything else, other people's opinions, outcomes of our efforts, fortune and misfortune, these are gifts or trials that come and go. They are like the weather, sometimes bright, sometimes stormy. We can appreciate the sunshine, and we can shelter through the storm, but we do not become the weather itself. When we engage with life in this way, we free ourselves from constant anxiety. We no longer feel desperate to control what is uncontrollable. Instead, we meet each challenge with calm resolve. When success comes, we accept it humbly, knowing it is not a permanent possession. When failure arrives, we face it with courage, understanding it is only one moment in the vast flow of time. This balance, this dance between care and detachment, requires practice. It requires daily reflection and discipline. We must remind ourselves that our peace is precious, more precious than any fleeting pleasure or fleeting pain. By guarding this peace, we become like a lighthouse shining steadily through the darkest nights, guiding ourselves and others safely through. To live detachedly engaged also means to avoid the traps of bitterness and resentment. When we lose someone dear, or when life deals us a harsh blow, it is natural to feel sorrow. But bitterness chains us to the past, to what cannot be changed. Instead, we must learn to grieve with acceptance, to let go with gratitude for what was. This is not weakness, but strength, the strength to choose peace over pain. Epictetus, the freed slave turned philosopher, taught that it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. This simple truth opens the door to freedom. If we react with anger or despair, we remain prisoners of the event. But if we respond with wisdom and calm, we reclaim our power. We become the masters of our inner world, no matter how wild the outer world may be. Imagine now the relationships in your life. It is easy to lose ourselves in others' opinions, to crave their approval, or fear their rejection. But detached engagement teaches us to love without dependence. We give our friendship, our kindness, our honesty, and accept whatever response comes, without losing our own center. This makes our love genuine and our bonds strong, not because they are forced or demanded, but because they grow freely. This is the way of the true philosopher and the path to serenity. Not by avoiding the world, but by meeting it fully, with eyes wide open and heart steady. Not by clinging to what cannot last, but by embracing the present moment as it is, imperfect, fleeting, yet infinitely precious. Every day, we face countless choices. Will we respond with fear or courage? With attachment or detachment? With despair or hope? The answer lies within us, waiting to be awakened. The power to live fully without losing ourselves is the greatest mastery we can achieve. Remember, detachment is not emptiness. It is fullness, the fullness of a mind that knows what matters and what does not. It is the quiet strength that flows from understanding our place in the world. It is the freedom to give ourselves completely, yet remain untouched by the chaos that surrounds us. As we walk this path, we become like the ocean, deep, vast, and calm. Waves may rise and fall, storms may rage, but beneath it all, the water remains steady. So too can our minds become a source of endless peace, no matter what life brings. In this way, detached engagement is not a paradox, but a profound truth. To live with passion and purpose while holding gently. To love fiercely, yet stand free. To act boldly, yet remain serene. This is the way of those who have mastered themselves. This is the way we must strive to live. We have traveled a long path together. We began in the stillness, awakening something deep inside, a quiet space in the mind untouched by chaos. We learned to see the world clearly, to accept hardship as a choice, to build a fortress within that no anger or fear can breach. Now, we stand at the final gate. This gate leads to a place few reach, true mastery of the mind, a calm that no storm can break. This is the place of serenity. Serenity is not the absence of struggle. It is the presence of something stronger inside us. It is the knowledge that no matter what happens outside, our inner world remains steady. We do not become cold or unfeeling. Rather, we become wise and strong. We feel deeply, but we are not ruled by feelings. This is the essence of mastery. Many think mastery means control over everything, controlling people, events, or outcomes. But that is not true mastery. True mastery begins with controlling oneself. It begins with understanding that the mind is like a garden. If we plant seeds of anger, fear, or envy, the garden becomes wild and painful. But if we plant seeds of reason, patience, and courage, the garden blooms with peace. We are the gardeners of our minds. We choose what grows. A great teacher once said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Freedom, real freedom, is found in this mastery. It is freedom from the chains of destructive emotions. It is freedom from the endless turmoil that comes when we let the outside world decide how we feel. We become free because we learn to master our desires and our fears. When a storm comes, the sea does not fight the wind. It moves with it, sometimes swelling, sometimes calming, but always returning to its depth. So too must we learn to move with life's challenges, not by resisting or reacting with rage or despair, but by accepting and choosing our response with wisdom. We become like the sea, powerful, deep, and calm. The heart of this mastery lies in acceptance. Not resignation, but a fierce, clear acceptance. Acceptance of what is beyond our control and absolute commitment to what lies within it. Our thoughts, our judgments, our actions. We cannot control what others do or say. We cannot stop pain or loss. But we can control how we meet these things. We can meet them with courage. There is a lesson in every hardship. Each difficulty is a teacher dressed in disguise. When anger rises, it shows us where we have not trained our mind. When fear whispers, it reveals the places we still cling to illusion. When grief presses down, it asks us to remember what truly matters. We are not broken by suffering. We are refined by it. This is the power of fortitude. It is not the absence of pain, but the triumph over it. It is the refusal to be defeated by what life sends us. The great Stoic philosopher Epictetus taught us that it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. This is a truth to carry in the darkest moments. To master the mind is to live with purpose and clarity. It is to know your values and hold them steady against every wave. It is to walk through life with your head high, not because the path is easy, but because your inner strength is unshakable. You know who you are, and you refuse to be anyone else. This is freedom. But mastery also teaches humility. We learn that we are part of a greater whole connected to the universe, to others, and to time itself. We are small in the grand scheme, yet immense in our capacity to grow. This understanding humbles us, yet it also lifts us. Because in knowing our place, we find peace. We stop chasing endless desires and instead find joy in what we have. We stop fearing death, knowing it is a natural part of life's cycle. We stop longing for control, realizing that control is an illusion outside ourselves. This is the wisdom that brings serenity. The journey to mastery is not finished at some distant point. It is a daily practice. Every morning we rise, we choose again, to face the day with courage, to guard the gates of our mind, to cultivate peace in the face of chaos. Each moment is a chance to return to the path. Remember Marcus Aurelius, who ruled an empire yet found solitude in his thoughts, writing, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. We find strength not in the world, but in ourselves. This strength is the ultimate victory. So now, as you stand at this gate, you have a choice. To turn back to old habits, to give your power away, or to step forward. To claim the mastery of your mind and the serenity that follows. To live as a true master, not of others, but of yourself. This is the highest calling. The quiet triumph over the storms of emotion. The freedom from fear, anger, and desire. The serene peace that comes when the mind is steady and the soul is free. Walk through this gate. Carry your hardships like a warrior carries armor. Know that every struggle has shaped you into someone stronger, wiser, and more serene. The masters of old knew this truth. True power comes from within. You are ready. The mind is yours to command. And in this mastery, you become unbreakable,